On this newest edition of Phantom Focus, Noah Dykeman drops by the superintendent's office to speak with Dr. Fegley about PSSA results, the Early Learning Center, as well as other developments in the Phoenixville School District. All that coming up right now.
All right, welcome back, Dr. Fegley. It's good to have you on the show again.
Thank you so much.
So we're actually in a new location for the show today.
We are, yes. Welcome to my office. It's great to have you here.
Let's start by talking about the latest PSSA results. Where did the district do well and where is improvement needed?
Sure, the PSSAs are one of the statewide testing pieces that all students grades 3 through 8 need to take. It used to also be that they had to take the PSSAs at the 11th grade level. Those have been replaced by the Keystones. So the PSSAs and the Keystones are our standardized testing that we need to do. We use those tests to really look at areas that we can grow in and areas that we seem to be doing well in. That said, they actually are only one measure of what we really want to look at. It's one little snapshot. We used to say it was a one-day snapshot. I now have to say it's about a 2 to 3 week snapshot because the tests are given over so many days. That said, as we're looking at those PSSAs, some of the thoughts that we had were in math at the elementary level. We were pleased with our math results, but we didn't think we were growing to the extent that we wanted to. So this year, again, we brought in a new math program, Math in Focus. So that's one of the ways that we've used the PSSAs. Similarly, though, we've used our other testing that we use to change our programs around. We looked at our reading program. We're saying, how are we doing in reading overall at the elementary level? Again, we were feeling okay about it, but we weren't feeling great. And we weren't feeling great because some of the tests that we use are Dibbles tests and other tests that we use in our response to our intervention. We're saying, you can probably do better here. So we did do some changes to our reading program 2 years ago. We expect to see some of those significant results taking place in the PSSAs and in our other testing areas this upcoming year. We do know that those changes have made improvements. Example, up until about 2-3 years ago, we would typically see 60%, 70% of our kindergartners coming out of kindergarten reading at or above grade level. Last year, with the changes we put in place, we had 95% of our students reading at or above grade level. Huge growth, huge improvement. We expect to see that continuing through as we keep moving everything up the ladder.
In your view, how effective is the PSSA as a measuring guide for a school's performance? And included that, what are some areas that should be considered in judging overall performance?
Sure. As I said, I think the PSSAs are one snapshot of what we're doing. It's a very public snapshot. All the scores go out and everyone sits there and sees what those scores are, but it is just one snapshot of what we're doing. Those areas that we talked about a second ago about growing, I would continue to keep growing in those areas. I think we need to keep growing always. I think the worst thing any school district can do is sit there and say, hey, we're satisfied with where we reached. Because as soon as you're satisfied, you don't grow anymore. You're not going to help all the students reach their fullest potential they possibly can. The other tests that we need to look at and the other areas for measures, I actually believe at the high school level, the real measure is our AP and our ability and what we're doing with our AP courses. Nationally, you tend to see somewhere in the area of 20% of the students at a high school in an AP course. Here in Phoenixville at the high school, we have 49% of our students taking one or more AP courses. But more importantly than that, we have over 80% of them passing the AP test. That's independent of our testing, but passing the AP test. 83% at a 3, 4, or 5 level. At that level, colleges start to consider that as possible credit or possible to say, they can do college work. They're showing us that they're doing college work. So for us, it's really, really important to keep looking at how are we doing in those areas and how are we helping all students grow into taking an AP and honors class. That is a huge piece. Right now, AP and honors, it's almost up to 80% of our students are taking an AP or honors course. Again, a huge increase, and that's what we need to keep focusing on.
Could you tell us about the progress being made on the new Early Learning Center?
Sure. The new Early Learning Center, and I have a picture here that will probably help us out a little bit. As folks know, the school district took the property that was formerly known as the Meadowbrook property. We're calling it the Early Learning Center campus. And we've been working with the various groups, and when I say various groups, the Planning Commission of Schuylkill Township, the Schuylkill Township supervisors, to sit here and bring this project to fruition. Right now, the project is scheduled to be completed August the 17th. We're on a very, very tight timeline. We've been working with these groups to bring it to that point. Some of the key areas that we're working on right now. The design of the building. Our architects have designed the building, and we have started to submit those plans through. There's a hearing that's coming up that's called the Act 34 hearing. That will take place in February, and at that hearing is when we will get approval coming through from the Department of Education for this building. In addition, all these areas have to go through what's called the Planning Commission of Schuylkill Township. We've now done 2 submissions to Schuylkill Township for the Planning Commission. At this past Tuesday, Schuylkill Township approved us moving forward with our preliminary plan. So we actually now have a preliminary plan by the Planning Commission moving forward to the supervisors, which I believe will be taking place the first week of January. What this plan calls for is along Pothouse Road, a new entrance will go in right across from Trotters Drive. This will be for all parents and students to use, coming in and doing drop-off, faculty to use for drop-off, and when the people come in for practices for the use of the fields. All school buses are actually going to go in the same way as the middle school and high school buses go in right now. They'll come in off of 29, come up around, and then they'll come here to the front of the building for drop-off for the students here. This portion of the building will then be under lockdown for the rest of the day, and only this front section will be open. We have 2 wings. These wings are the first grade wing and the kindergarten wings. They'll actually be, the students will be mixed, so it won't be a pure first grade, but that's where our first and second graders will be. Over here, we'll be putting in about 500 seats, 550 seats for 2nd through 5th grade students. This portion of the building, the 2nd through 5th grade, is also being designed in such a manner that if we need to, 5 years down the road, 6 years down the road, it can be turned over to a 6th grade center, or it can be turned over to a 2nd grade center. So we're really being flexible in our design to make sure that we can keep meeting the growing needs of the district. As I'm just getting my new statistics, and we're still growing at about a 3+% rate, and there's a lot of new developments coming in. In addition to the building, we are adding 6 fields. That actually more than doubles the number of fields that we have here in Phoenixville. Right now we have 5 fields for the students to use on campus. We then go to Cap Pickering, Pico Field, the Borough Fields, and send 19 teams out to other locations. By adding these 6 fields in, 2 baseball, 2 softball, and 2 standard fields, we will be able to keep most of the teams on campus, which will be really great. So instead of having to come out of school at the end of the day, get on a bus and go somewhere, they'll be able to get into the locker room, walk across, and come right here. We'll also be able to bring cross country back to the campus, because by the time you sit here and start running the trails that we're putting in on this design, we'll be able to have the cross country team do their 3.1 mile run all on campus, which will be really great. Give them some extra audience to actually see them out there and doing their runs and their competition. So these fields are in the process of being designed. Some may be turf, some may not be turf. That will be a decision that will be made later. So that's the general piece that's being developed. This part down here, the 1/3 of the campus that's closest to Route 29, is going to remain open space as we currently have it proposed. This area has some really beautiful trees in it. Our hope is that, well, there's this little stream going through here that will actually have the students and the environmental clubs come in here and help plant this up and turn this back into a much more natural looking area versus the golf course area, and also plant some trees in this area so we can use it as a nature area, science environmental area for students kindergarten through grades 12. So a lot of great things happening here on the campus. Looking forward to hopefully putting a shovel in the ground in September, maybe October, but that's our goal. I guess one other thing that has been talked about on the campus is people said, but there's some contamination on the ground, and that's true. There's arsenic on this ground. The arsenic was used by the golf course in order to take care of weeds and pest control. So the greens have been, we've tested the greens, and they do have arsenic levels above the level that's allowed for people to be on. We're going to go in, we're going to remove all that soil, ship it off. My recommendation and Mr. Johnson's recommendation is to ship it off into a certified landfill, so that we'll be really starting with a pristine site for all the students. That's a quick rundown of it. Do you have any questions about what may be?
You pretty much answered any question that I could have had.
Okay. I guess one other thing is we can show a couple pictures. This is what the front of the building is going to look like. Over here you can see the K1 wing. Over here is the 2 to 5 wing. This this section right here is where we'll have a very large library, a nice cafeteria, and a gymnasium to be used. So that's what it will look like from the front. This is, we call it the pothouse view. This is what the school will look like from the middle school and the high school, is what you'll see. Over here you can see where the bus loop drop-off takes place, and then this is a much closer view of the K1 wings taking place. The building is being designed such that it has a lot of glass to let a lot of sunlight in, so we can use the natural energy of the sun to help heat us in the wintertime, but also putting in the right angles so that we can use it, keep the sun out and not heat it up too much during the spring and the summer times. So pretty exciting place that we're building there.
You just talked a lot about new stuff going on in the district. Could you talk about some other good things going on in the district and why they stand out in your mind?
Oh, there's so many things going on. I mean, this week alone, last 2 weeks, there's been so many great concerts that have been taking place. It was wonderful. I couldn't get to many of them, but the ones I got to, the sounds were just wonderful. And on Phantom TV, I would encourage folks to go and look at them, because most of those concerts were recorded, and you can see them on Phantom TV for the next several weeks and do that. Other areas that we keep on growing, we've had some changeover that's taking place. Our Director of Human Resources is leaving us, and our Director of Technology has left us. But we're really pleased to announce that we've hired Ken Gibson as the new Director of Technology. He's going to be coming in. He comes to us from the Twin Valley School District. He is recognized across the state as one of the leaders in educational technology, so we're really happy to bring him on board. And I expect the same type of things to be happening in the other areas, but those are some of the things that are happening real quick. It's a busy time of year, but it's really focused a lot on the holiday season. Other great things that are happening, I know at East Pikeland right now and at Schuylkill School, they've collected enough food to feed 60 families each for the holidays. At the high school, I haven't heard the final number of stockings that have been collected, but if it's similar to the past, it's 300 to 400 stockings for those families in need. So lots of great things are taking place.
The district auditorium has become quite a venue for outside groups.
It is.
Can you talk about why the district has opened that up and how other community groups can use the auditorium for their events?
Sure. Well, the district auditorium is truly one of the gems of the district. It's a great venue. It was acoustically designed so that choral groups, band groups, orchestral groups can go in there and really, really have good quality sound. It's so good that the Pennsylvania Philharmonic is actually coming to use the middle school auditorium. I actually like to call it the district auditorium. On January 2nd, they're going to be doing Fantasia, so they'll have the movie in the background, and the orchestra will be playing the music for that. So that's one example. We have lots of dance groups coming in that use the auditorium and other groups. It is a wonderful venue. It is also a moneymaker for the district. And because we do charge people to use it from outside groups. So this year alone, I believe we brought in somewhere near $30,000 to $40,000 in revenue to the district for the use of the auditorium. Anyone who wishes to use the auditorium, all they need to do is go to the district homepage, and on the bottom left-hand corner, there's a place called District Forms, District Usage. You can apply to start using the auditorium there. I would encourage people to call Mrs. Claus in order to find out if the building is really open that time, and if we can make sure we meet their accommodations and needs. But just to do a quick application, you go in for any district building, and you go on District Building Usage Form Request, and you can request to use the building.
The district also recently made some announcements with technology. What's the update there?
Well, the update is, I didn't realize we were going to ask that question, but the update there is we hired Mr. Gibson as our new Director of Technology. We're also getting ready to go out and start hiring about 6 new people for the technology department. We've done a shift in what we've been doing in the technology department, and Mr. Gibson is going to be out there hiring a number of folks over the course of the next 4 to 6 weeks in order to bring them on board to really help us become the very best that we can be in the area of technology for students. We do see more students bringing their devices from home into school, especially at the high school level. I also see some more e-books coming online over the next couple of weeks.
We want to add a new segment that highlights some of the schools in the district. For this show, could you tell us about Schuylkill Elementary and how things are going there so far this year?
They've been having a wonderful year. I don't know if you knew they had an artist in residence at Schuylkill School this year. The artist in residence worked with the students to, in the front section as you come into the building, the big the entryway there. I don't know, did you go to school? Do you
I did.
remember? Okay. The entryway, they've put a really nice mural on the wall where you come into the school. They also put in an amazing mural up on next to the library area. So you have all these nice pictures of the books and kids reading books up there. So that was a fun project. And what's even better is every student in school got to participate in that. They've also had their concerts recently take place. Their band concert and their orchestra concert and their choral concerts were absolutely outstanding. Mr. Harmer is also the principal there, is also very involved in what's called Math 24. I don't think you had Math 24 back then. Math 24 is you're given a series of numbers and you have to figure out how to add, subtract, multiply, or divide them to equal 24. And you have to do it really, really quickly. I got to be a judge last year. I forgot to tell you, these 4th and 5th graders could take those numbers and add them and subtract them together faster than I could to come up with the number 24. But he has really worked on that competition at Schuylkill School, and he spread it to East Pikeland and to Barclay School. And it was a great competition last year. This year he's worked with the Chester County Intermediate Unit, and there's going to actually be a countywide competition. And we're looking forward to our kids doing really, really well at the county competition. Those are some of the exciting things that are happening at Schuylkill School. Just in the last month or so.
We just recently completed the senior project presentations at the high school.
Yeah.
Why do you feel that's an important requirement for graduation?
It's a really important requirement because so many of the projects are community-based. And it actually helps give students that opportunity to start thinking about what do I want to be in the world? What do I want to be out there? How do I want to contribute back to my community? The projects that I've seen have been really a lot of fun and exciting. I don't know, you're a senior. Well, do you mind talking about your senior project for a second?
Yeah, I worked with the Green Club at the Phoenixville High School, and we worked together with the Shade Commission, the Shade Tree Commission of Phoenixville, planted trees around town. We took care of some of the campus gardens, like the courtyard, the butterfly garden outside the high school cafeteria.
And that's beautiful, the butterfly garden. Really great. So it gave you another sense of some of the things that are taking place within the community, gave you a time to check into an area that may be of a passion for you. I think it's important for all students to get that experience. It should be something that's fun for them to do and still helps them learn. So that's why I see it as an important part of the graduation requirement. Even though it's not for credit, I get that, but it is an important requirement.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Dr. Fegley.
Thank you very much. No, great talking with you.